Good morning, everyone. Welcome to People Drinking Coffee. 'Cause I'm drinking coffee. My name is Jamie Cinq-Mars, and this is Natalie Angussani.
Good morning, everyone.
So, today's show, as always, is brought to you by Cinq-Mars Coffee, the world's #1 weight loss coffee. If you want to learn more about it, you can head over to our Facebook page, which is People Drinking Coffee, or our blog, which is going to continue to grow. And that is also peopledrinkingcoffee.com. Interesting topic that we were going to talk about, because we talked about this last week, and it was attitude adjustment, because sometimes people need an attitude adjustment. And I had recalled a conversation about a speaker that I had heard, not a conversation, pardon me, but a speaker that I had heard, and he was a pilot that ended up not being able to fly because of an accident in his eyesight and what have you. So so we're going to get to that in a second. But then, as we're sitting here getting our coffee, it turns out that we've had a little bit of a problem with our regular software, the Webinar Jam software that we use to fire up this wonderful show. And here we are with an adjustment. Right, Natalie?
Because as you mentioned when you had brought up the topic you heard from your speaker, I looked up to learn a little bit more about what an attitude indicator was from an airplane. And it just seems to coincide, as it were, as right into what sometimes sets us off in our day. If something doesn't go the way we expected it to go, or if it doesn't level off the way we expected. So our horizon and attitude are very similar.
Mm-hmm. And it was appropriate because Natalie had sent me a message letting me know that the software was not working properly. And so this morning I hopped on. The software we use actually incorporates Google Hangouts anyway. So we just thought, well, it's been a while since I started a Google Hangout by itself because we use the software. So it took a little fumbling around and trying to figure things out. And then here we are. Isn't that magical? So it is true that the attitude is so very important because bad things are going to happen. The storms are coming. You can't really. There's no way to stop them. There's no way to prevent them. It's just a matter of how do you handle them, right? And the speaker that I had talked to or had heard from, sorry, I keep insisting that I was talking to this guy, but I didn't actually talk to him. But his attitude, the reason why he went down this road was because he, ever since he was a small boy, all he ever wanted to do was fly. And then, as luck would have it, he had an accident that did damage to his eyes. And I don't remember exactly what it was, because it's not really the important part of the story, like the accident itself. And I think that also lends to the concept that we talked about, I believe last week, was just, what are you focused on? And, I find that so many times people, this guy went up to speak. He told a horrible story of some sort of accident that damaged his eyes, and he lost his childhood dream. But that wasn't the message that I received as I listened to him, because it's not the important detail. One of the things he said during this speak, and why he is speaking now, is to let people know that just because one of his lines was, where is it here? I just want to make sure I get it right because I quoted him. Yeah, you don't need great eyesight to craft an amazing vision. That was one of his quotes. You don't need great eyesight to craft an amazing vision. And that was, what he was delivering, even though he can't fly a plane anymore. He's still delivering some very important. Before he delivered people, now he delivers message, and that message is equally important and probably connects more people and connects with more people than the plane ever would. one of the things that he talked about was whenever a plane is in trouble, or when things start to happen, heavy winds or storms or what have you, your your senses are going to make you think one way, but the plane's instruments are likely going to tell you a different story. And one of the things that he had also said was a plane must set the attitude meter or indicator first before they do anything else. Just think about it for a minute. There's an indicator in a plane called the attitude indicator, and it is the first thing that you set before you try to attempt to battle the elements. It was a very huge aha moment while I was sitting there in the audience listening, and I'm thinking, wow. So often when something crazy happens, we go right to work battling it, fighting it, getting all crazy, angry, upset, all these whatever emotions come flying in there. But yet, it's the attitude that we have not adjusted before we started to go through it. Your thoughts?
Hey, Jamie, so would it be fair to compare that to how we start our day? If we set our attitude indicator for the day, after that first cup of delicious slim roast coffee that you're having, or second cup, depending, right? Instead of, say, approaching the day with, oh God, I've got to do this, this, and this, approach the day with, set your attitude. Hey, it's a great day outside. I've got a lot of stuff I'm going to do. I'm just going to dig in and get started.
Yeah.
It could be as easy as that. It doesn't have to be complicated to start your day with a positive mind.
I agree.
And then you've set your attitude indicator for the day, and everything else will come from that.
It's so interesting that you have connected that dot, because it's sometimes the toughest part about working from home, because you don't have anywhere to go, right? You wake up and where am I going? Well, just downstairs. So it doesn't always equate to I got to get up, I got to get all ready, I got to get in the car, I got to be here by a certain time. I got none of that stuff is happening when you have a traditional job. You've got to get up, you got to be there by a certain time. You got all that. So that becomes the motivation as opposed to what have I planned for today, right? So and there are days when it's not that easy, and you're right, it's an attitude. It's the attitude. I wish I could tell you guys what the magic formula was to have that attitude indicator running at tip-top shape all the time. But I don't know the answer to that.
No, because you know what? Let's face it, in reality, we don't all, even those of us who believe we have a handle on our attitude, we don't always, every time, start out with that balance. We don't always start out feeling positive. There are moments where we start our days or get involved in a project and something just isn't going right, and we find ourselves for that brief moment going and saying, this is not going the way it's supposed to go. This person didn't do what they're supposed to do. How am I going to move forward? The key, I think, is recognizing that when it starts to happen, and then adjust the attitude.
I agree. Consciously aware, right? As you become consciously aware of the situation, you can make an adjustment. I know that was one of the one of the things that I've had to work with is just catching yourself in the moment where you are not controlling that emotion. And too often you find that people in the outside of your own personal space, they make all kinds of judgments and decisions and what have you about how things are going or what you're doing or what you're up to. Or you take a guy like let's say Anthony Robbins or John Maxwell or any of the foremost leaders in the personal growth industry, and they put on such a perfect front, really. And it's not even a front. Front would be deceptive. It's more of a just, when they're on, they're on, right? And but when they're not in their that the specific space where they're doing the thing that they do, they have the same rough times, the same storms, the same frustrations, the same uh, drop off in ability to keep things composed. You just don't always see it because that's the whole purpose. That it's so isolated that it's not the norm. We were just having a conversation with my cousin over the weekend. It was a long weekend up here in Canada, and we were just sitting around a fire, just chatting, and she was talking about a customer that comes into where she works, and the guy is just a complete ass, and just rude and horrible to the staff, and perpetuating it with his son because he was having a conversation with his kid in earshot of my cousin, and she was just telling us the whole story. And I was like, this guy's just always, instead of always being consciously aware of where he's at or what he's doing, he's just not aware of anything. He's just a complete ass. And it's always angry, always upset about something. Definitely never ever once checked his attitude ever. It's just out of control. So I just think that when I saw that speaker and he talked about the attitude meter and how it's so critical to adjust, and he was referring to himself because having a lifelong dream to fly, and he did get to fly, just that he couldn't continue to fly because of the accident. And he remembers when he was learning to fly, just as a student, and so they go up with the trainer, and at one point they were coming in for a landing, and there was really bad crosswinds, and so the plane was just rocking back and forth, and he was having a hard time getting it level, and having a hard time plane getting set for coming in for the landing.
Yeah.
And at one point, he sort of lost his composure in the cockpit and just made some offhanded remarks about this is impossible, and like how am I supposed to? The winds are so strong. How am I supposed to get control? Just that he was basically putting a lot of onus on the conditions and not his own ability to fly the plane. So the trainer flipped the switch, which gave the trainer back all the control of the plane. And he, made a comment to the trainer, what are you doing? How am I going to learn if I, this? And he just went on, and then finally the trainer waited for him to finish and looked over at him and goes, I didn't realize the wind was flying the plane today. So it was just something where the trainer said, you're mentally not prepared for this, so I'm going to take over so we don't crash, right? Because that's when he started to realize that not only do you have to adjust the attitude of the plane, but you have to adjust your own attitude, right? And if you read stories about people that are flying planes and that are learning to fly a plane via instrument versus via feel, you'll read similar stories where they feel like the plane is level, but all of the instruments indicate that it's flying down and to the left. So it's actually a nosedive, whether it's not in a steep nosedive, but it's going down off course. And then with their trainer, they're being taught to trust the instruments and set your attitude so towards which is the plane's relative to the horizon, right? And then adjust all the other different things that you need to adjust, and just go by the instrument. And whenever in some of the stories I've read, once they've set the instruments and they've set it against the plane of the horizon, set the plane against the horizon, they feel like they're climbing into the right. And so their feeling is that they're actually climbing and going off course when actually the plane is where it's supposed to be. But that's because they're using this thing, which is sometimes quite useless, and then and instead of trusting the instruments that are provided or the tools that are provided. So that similar to us, we have all these tools that we gather over the years from the different people we speak to, our circle of influence, the people that we associate with our law of association. We grab all these tools from people, and we also learn how to sharpen them and become use them in a better way. But then when the storm hits, it seems that all too often we forget about all those tools, and we leave them all in the bag, and we don't even find the most sharp. And if we do grab one, we just grab any tool, and it doesn't happen to work for that job. So I think it's super important that we take time to be consciously, whenever something crazy happens, just think about how you handled it, and figure out if there's a way that you can adjust.
And as you're saying that, what comes to mind is, how about all the people that are looking to do something with their lives and want to maybe work from home or start a business, and they enroll in a system, a program, a training, and if they don't have that attitude, if the attitude indicator isn't set correctly, if it doesn't work immediately, if they don't have instant success, it's the system, it's the trainer, it's this, it's a scam. How do they expect me to do this? And they might as well just take a match to whatever money they've spent to join, because they themselves are going into that deep dive and crashing.
Yep.
And they don't realize that they have set the attitude to do that.
Without question. I mean, network marketing is the same concept. I mean, just the other day, I got a message from someone who I had been working with, and they had said they weren't getting the results, so they were canceling all their orders. And I thought, I know for sure that they got results because I've been communicating with them. So I'm not entirely sure what the whole deal is there. But you're right, it's an attitude indicator. They've made some sort of attitude adjustment that is going to crash their plane. So unfortunately, at some point you have to wash your hands of it because you don't want to crash with them. So it's I reached out to them.
Which takes us to why we say associate with people who are like-minded as far as growing, as far as improving themselves, as far as making their health better, their life better, doing things for their family, growing their business, whatever they're looking to do. If you associate with people who have that mindset, then you yourself are uplifted by it, as opposed to being dragged down to the depths of, oh, I can't do this.
I agree. Yeah. The law of association is so critical, especially if you have any aspirations to grow in any way. You have to surround yourself with people that are doing the things you want to do, moving in the direction you want to move, etc. Those kinds of things, right? It's just so critical.
That's why I start my day with a cup of coffee.
And hang out with me, right? That was your next thing. That was what you were going to say next, right? And hang out with me. She still hasn't said it.
That's right. But even that, even on a social level, if you hang out with your friends, people you enjoy speaking with, people you enjoy sharing ideas with, you enjoy your day, you enjoy your time. That in itself is uplifting.
Well, and Jim Rohn had always said that it's important to spend time with different types of people.
Okay.
You shouldn't just focus on, but think about what you're doing. Like, you have to spend the most, like the phrase is, the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with.
Okay.
Are who you become and where you're going, and it'll be a very good indicator as to how much money you can make, etc. Those kinds of things. But the key is most, because a lot of times people get this confused and they think, oh, well, then when I have to give up all my friends. Nope, nobody's saying you have to give up your friends. But if you do want to be a millionaire and your friends aren't millionaires, then you can't spend the most amount of your time with them. It's a very simple equation. It's not to say you can't go hang out on the weekend if they're with them, or go to their cabin once in a while, or whatever it is that they've
Right.
got going on, or invite them over to your place, or whatever it is. But most amount of time is during the day, you got to add it all up, and that's the key. And when you surround yourself with people that are moving in the direction that you're moving, or you want to move, or doing the things, this is the key, doing the things that you want to do, you are going to change the trajectory of your life, which again goes back to the attitude.
Oh yeah.
It all goes back to attitude. I mean, no matter which conversation, no matter how many times you and I get together and talk coffee, or have a coffee talk, or coffee shop talk, or whatever we want to call it, attitude is always going to be a running theme, because without it, you're off course.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely agree. And the coffee's just like the bonus.
Coffee's just something that, it's just people like to go for coffee. People like to drink coffee, and then they talk about whatever, right? So,
hey, it works for me. It works for me.
bottoms up.
Bottoms up. Uh-oh. I can start to see almost the bottom of the cup. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All gone. I got a little bit still sitting around.
Very sad. As you can see, I enjoy some hockey.
Yeah. You think?
A little bit. My niece made me this coaster.
All right.
Yeah, it's just those little plastic things that I guess melt together with an iron or something.
Oh yeah, I remember those. Okay. Very cool.
I don't know. I don't know if she found a pattern, or if she just made it up in her head, or what. But that's my coaster.
All right.
There you go.
Okay.
So what are we at? We're like about a half an hour, close, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Pretty much so.
Pretty close. Well, we don't want to keep this too long. I like half hour. Half hour is good. I always feel like we haven't talked enough, but I really, half an hour is a half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you know what we're talking about next week?
Actually, if you have an idea, I will entertain it. Other than that,
I can be entertaining, and I do like to be entertained. So I don't know that we had anything specific. We'll probably have to meet on it. I think I'm just looking at my notes here.
Yeah, no, we didn't set anything specific past today.
The attitude indicator.
Right.
The attitude indicator for today. Well, and there will be. Yeah, no, that's good. All right, perfect. Well, then, what we'll do for today? We'll just get everybody to check their attitude. Make sure it's level with the horizon. Make sure it's level, period. And when you find yourself in a storm of sorts, whether it's driving, or you get a crazy phone call, or if you happen to be working in a place where you have customers, you have one that comes in that's trouble. The quicker you can become consciously aware of how you're emotionally feeling in that moment when the storm hits, the quicker you'll be able to adjust the attitude indicator to keep yourself level. The slower it takes for you to identify that, the quicker it will be for you to do this and that. So it could get. That's for me, I think, the biggest thing, and I have noticed the massive changes in that for me. Just in the moment, recognizing that I haven't made an adjustment, or that I'm starting to feel that welling up of out of control emotion, and then I know that reaction comes next, as opposed to taking thought before you speak and take action. So
most definitely. And as we all know,
closing remarks from you, Natalie.
I was just going to say, just as a reminder to everybody, your attitude determines your altitude.
My speakers, never mind.
I was just going to say that your attitude will determine your altitude.
Yeah, without question. Without question. So awesome.
Okay, well, I'm out of coffee now, Jamie, so I guess that's it.
Time to fill up.
Okay.
All right, everybody, have yourself an awesome day. We're going to see you next week. PeopleDrinkingCoffee.com. The blog is slowly coming around, slowly developing. There's as you can see right here, there's a website you can check out for the Slim Roast coffee that we've referred to a couple of times, the #1 weight loss coffee in the world. And that's it. I think we're done.
Okay. Hey, folks, have a great day.
Peace.